Bruce, you had quite a bad experience with a cell phone over the past few weeks. Take us through it. Tell us when it started and what exactly happened to you.
Johan, what happened was I had a cell phone and it was slightly damaged. My company gave me a replacement cell phone which I took to MTN and subsequently had the two phones synced so that I could keep the information that was currently on my phone. When I gave the lady my phone, she indicated to me that there was a certain amount of water damage to the phone, and there was one or two marks on the keypad itself where it looked like it had been damaged. I reported this to my company as soon as I had completed with MTN. During the course of the month that I used the phone, on approximately the 11th and the 12th of December, I started getting a lot of discomfort in my fingers and my hands. I wasn't exactly sure what it was at the time, and I thought it was possibly overuse of the cell phone, whereby I was capturing a lot of information at the time and thought it was purely just my fingers being fatigued. On midday of the 12th, after having had the phone on charge, I had it in my pocket, and while sitting down, my left leg went very, very lame and became uncomfortable. I stood up and removed the cell phone, holding it in my left hand, while the left leg felt as if it was recovering and blood was flowing into it. My left hand felt as if it was going numb. And I realized that the cell phone was influencing the way my hand felt, making my hands very numb and sore. By the 13th of the month, my hands were red, swollen, very difficult to move.
Both hands?
Both my hands, my ear and my thigh were all very sore. My ear and around my face. On the 17th, I saw the doctor for the first time, in which they gave me anti-inflammatories for my hands and my hip and my ears, which I subsequently took for just over 2 weeks. Once the anti-inflammatories had been completed and I still had the discomfort, I once again contacted the doctor and they put me onto a medication called Lyrica. At the time...
Sorry for the interruption. What did the doctor say when you told him about the symptoms? What was his diagnosis?
Doctors don't work on the cause; they work on the symptoms themselves. And basically, it was inflammation of my hands. I had quite a bit of discomfort in that my arms had gone lame and my fingers and joints have swollen up and subsequently become very stiff. My left hip was very stiff and I had a burning sensation around my ear into my temple and affecting my right eye. After the Lyrica, I went for a second opinion with a second doctor because I wasn't exactly sure of the first doctor's comments. So the second doctor basically concurred with the first doctor and I continued with the Lyrica, and they both suggested that after a certain period of time, if there was no longer any comfort, I would see a neurologist. I've subsequently seen the neurologist. They've taken a variety of blood tests as well as 24-hour urine. Everything seems to have come back clear thus far. And even from the words of the neurologist, he's never experienced anything like this and he doesn't know whether he's the right person to be treating me. But the way
he knows what you think caused the problem.
He knows. He's checked me for rheumatoid arthritis and he's checked me for lupus, which are the two main things for muscle atrophy and discomfort in the swollen joints and fingers. Subsequently, the discomfort has continued, and specifically in my left leg, on my outer thigh, making my hip stiff, tingling on my inner left thigh and up into my testicles. And been very unsure of what it was. I've just been believing that it has been possibly the radiation or the microwaves from the cell phone that have caused this discomfort, specifically around any electrical equipment as such.
Where do you carry your cell phone? In your pocket?
Well, in the past, I would have carried it in my cell phone pocket, otherwise in my hand. I can now carry it in neither. I carry it in a little plastic packet and I dangle it as far away as possible from me. I use earplugs to ensure that I don't have any contact with the phone near my face or my ears because they immediately become hot. But even at present, my hands and my thighs still feel very uncomfortable. We've subsequently checked my car, thinking that it could possibly have been some form of the tracker or navigation system in the car. it as at present being checked whether there couldn't be an electrical problem with the car itself that has been causing the discomfort specifically in my left leg. And that's basically where we sit at the moment, is no one has been able to assist me or really tell me or advise me as to what I can do.
Okay, but now the question is, what happens if you use a cell phone now? When you take a cell phone in your hand, I mean, what happens?
After a few seconds, my joints become very, very stiff. The hair on my hand stands up, it goes into goosebumps, and then after a few minutes, I start to feel as if I want to be nauseous, until such time as I remove the cell phone or go away from it.
And it happens with any kind of cell phone, not one brand necessarily.
Not one brand of a cell phone. It happens whether I'm using a fax machine or whether I'm using a land-held telephone or whether I'm using any electrical equipment.
Have you spoken to experts who know how these things work inside, function, and to give you some kind of explanation of why it happens?
I've spoken to a few electronic companies. They are also quite astounded at my response to it, but I have subsequently seen where they are able to take a fluorescent light and light that light just by putting it on the floor of the car, for example, or over a walkie-talkie aerial. So there are definitely certain amounts of electricity in the air that we just don't take note of at all and don't take cognizance. It seems as if unless you've been burnt, damaged or radiated by it, you don't seem to notice the symptoms at all. It's frightening the amount of information that is actually out there about a cellular phone. I think it would take people years to read through all the information that is actually out there and to make a sound decision as to whether cell phones are good or bad is something that's going to be debated for a long time. I believe that the cell phone I had a problem with it and it's affected me. I don't necessarily believe that all cell phones are bad, but in the same token, I have seen areas where there are cell phone towers and noticed the amount of damage to the vegetation in the vicinity of a cell phone tower.
You've got that little gadget there. Just explain to us what it is.
What we're going to do is we're just going to make a phone call and see the amount of electrical interference that comes off from the cell phone when we make a call. And okay, as you can see, the cell phone, the signal is going through and it's now indicating the amount of okay, so you can see the amounts of radiation that are being emitted as the call is going out.
Shall I move it away slowly?
Yes, move it away and we see the distance. So basically everywhere within that area is kind of above the South African accepted norms of electrical interference.
Amazing.
And here we're holding it daily with our hands and next to our ears.
Bruce, thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your problem, and we hope maybe somebody else has had a similar experience and will come forward so we try and find a solution.